Hey guys, what's up? Chad here from Wash Wizard Power Washing in Jacksonville, Florida. And today we're going to be doing a soft wash on a house. I'll be totally honest with you, I'm not even going to soft wash it, I'm going to downstream it. This is a vinyl house with, mostly brick and vinyl. And the brick is in extremely good condition, so I don't feel like we need to go shooting a high percentage of SH on it today. So let me just give you a quick little look around. So you can see the customer has some serious growth up there on the vinyl, but you'll notice the windows and the brick are really in pretty nice shape. I got the buffer tank filling. Here's the supply line, and got my high pressure reel pulled out. I got 200 feet of that. So yeah, let's see. So you can see my setup is pretty basic. I don't got the fancy reels or the fancy downstream injecting systems and all that good stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this video for any of you guys out there that are just starting off, or not sure how you want to set up your trailer. Obviously this is really not for the veterans out there that know what they're doing. This is more for just people who are interested or people who might be thinking about getting in the business. So something I just want to mention, I seen it on another video from a guy who was in the business for about a year. And in one of his videos, he was explaining how this is such a great tool right here. This is on the end of the high pressure line. All right, this is a D10 ball valve right here. Okay. I'm sure there's plenty of different brands, but it's basically a high pressure, ball valve that's very, rated corrosion proof, and so it's going to handle, SH going through it relatively well, and it's made for the high pressure line. Your pressure washer is going to be putting out, 3, 4, 5, who knows how many thousands of pounds you have, but mine puts out about 3,200. And these valves are rated for it. But the thing that I seen him doing that I didn't agree with, and you tell me if you're a veteran out there, and I'd love to hear your comments on it, is he had this the reverse way. Okay, let me put you down for 1 second here so I could actually, I'm going to stick you on the tripod real quick so I could actually show you what I'm talking about real fast. All right. Okay. So what he did is, you'll see that here's your high pressure line. Okay. And when you run this from your reel, you're going to want to run it in a way that at the end you have the male here. This is how I do it. Once again, I'd like to hear how you do it. And what I do is I put a swivel. There's a swivel on here, and then I have my female. Okay, and the reason I do that is because when it's on my line and I want to use the valve as a way of washing, rinsing, I should say, it becomes another tool when you have a male at this end, not a female, because it comes out of a smaller orifice and it gives it a more direct, line, of water. And, by adjusting the valve, you can actually make it fan out a little bit or whatnot. Now, if you have it the opposite way, where at the end of this valve you have a female, it doesn't really work the same at all, in my opinion. Like I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts, but this is how I set mine up. And then my guns all have females on the ends of them to plug into this. Typically they don't come with females on the end, they come with males. So you got to change your guns to accommodate this kind of setup. But I find that this is definitely the best setup. I think it's a great tool, and that's how I do it. All right, so that is one of the things I wanted to bring up. Jumping back on the handheld. Sorry for all the wobbling. So, like I said, we're gonna downstream this. So what I like to do is pull out my lines all the way. I got 200 feet, so I can wrap around, you know, I could do 3 sides. I could do 3 sides of this house with 200 feet. Not to mention, you know, probably a good 50, 60 feet, you know, from the front of the house, you know, this driveway. Well, maybe like 40, 50 feet now. So, you know, I find that when you have 200 feet at least on your high pressure line, you know, it's pretty beneficial. You don't have to move around as much. You can usually hit 3 sides and then just go do 1 side. Seems to be the fastest way I can do it. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna soak down all of the vegetation, okay? And what I like to do is so I'm gonna start from this front here. So I'm gonna soak down this vegetation, and I'm gonna soak down this side vegetation. All right, get it nice and wet, and then I'm gonna shoot it, and then I'm gonna proceed to do the other 2 sides the same way. Instead of soaking down the whole entire house and then shooting it, if it's a really hot day, you know, once again, we're only downstreaming, so this is pretty mild SH. But, you know, if it's a hot day and it hasn't rained in a while, and, you know, that grass is just looking to absorb something, you know, you really don't want to soak it all down. And then by the time you shoot SH on it, you know, the 4th side, it evaporated or it got sucked into the grass, and now you got SH sitting on top of the grass or vegetation, and good way to have a very unhappy customer. So you see, by having the male fitting like this and adjusting the ball valves just to find the sweet spot, you know, you could get a lot of distance on this. It actually becomes like another, you know, little tool in your toolbox. So, you know, right now I'm just rinsing the house down. I want to cool down the temperature. Now, it's not sunny out today. I'm not hitting it with a real high SH, you know, so probably don't have to do this. I do it anyways just because it's just good to do. It's a good practice. You know, you want to cool the temperature down that you're shooting SH on, especially when it's hot and sunny out. And, you know, like I said, always wet down the vegetation. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, you're just downstreaming 1%. You don't got to go this crazy. You know, true enough, but I don't mind doing it. It takes 5 seconds. And to be honest, you know, it makes me feel better. I know that I'm not going to do any damage to somebody's house. And, you know, for me, it's just a good practice. So, once I get this all finished, we're going to start downstreaming some SH on these 2 sides and go from there. All right, guys, so we have the house rinsed down on these two sides, soaked all the vegetation. You might have noticed I kind of cleaned up the driveway and the walkway, even though that is not part of this job. Always go that extra mile for your customers. They're going to appreciate it. All right, now another thing that I didn't talk about in the beginning, which I should have, which I did already, but I'll do it again, is you always do your walk around. Don't forget, always do your walk around. Video everything. Make sure that, you know, damage on a house is videoed. You know, you want to have that deniability. You know, you want to have that proof that you didn't do it. Okay, if you don't, it can just be a misunderstanding, and you know, you're always going to get blamed for it. So make sure you go around, make sure you notice like tears in the screens or cracked windows, or anything that has damage. Make sure you video it. All right, now I walked around this, I didn't see any damage, and I videoed it, so I'm not going to do it again, but so important, really so important. Okay, another thing, when you're soft washing with SH, downstream, I don't care what you're doing, look out for the water softeners, okay? If you shoot that SH in here, you know, you get it back up in here and you hit that computer that's in them, you know, the motherboard, you will fry it, okay? It may not happen today, but it will happen, okay? And eventually you'll get a phone call, and you don't want to do that. Another thing, always watch your electrical connections, you know, open outlets, things like that. Make sure you don't spray on them. You know, a lot of the times if they're open, we tape them or cover them with a bag or something. You know, but ones like that where the door flips down, I just flip the door down and I don't spray directly on ever. See, rip screen, you know, you don't want to get blamed for that. Okay, so we have our walk around done. Talked a little bit about some of the pitfalls to watch out for. So let's get downstream. Now, for me, with my system, it's very basic. So to downstream, I just go right through a downstream injector, and I don't even have a bypass on it. So what I did is I just created this different type of system where I don't need the bypass, but I definitely should just get the bypass. It's only 150 bucks. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Wear your earphones, not that I am, your earplugs. Okay, so downstream injector. Okay, it's in my high pressure line, comes off of my power washer. And this line right here is for the for the downstream injector. All right, now everybody does things a little different. So what I did is, these are my SH tanks, and what I just do, I have an open PVC going feeding right into this. So what I like to do is just run this right down in the open PVC into the tank. All right, and this way I know that it's in the SH. If you don't use that PVC rod or pipe, I should say, and put it through the pipe, sometimes what happens is the hose is just going to coil up on top of the SH. It's not going to be in the SH, so you just be sucking on air. Don't want to do that. All right, so right now I got SH. It takes about 15 seconds from the time I pull the trigger to the time the SH comes out of the front. And the way you tell when the SH is coming out is just run your hand through the stream far away, because you don't want to tear your hands up, and you'll feel it start getting real slick, and that's when the SH is actually coming out. Now what I do is, with my primitive system here, what I do is when I'm done shooting SH, I come back to the trailer, I pull this tube out, and I put it in this 7-gallon bucket of fresh water, which does two things. It rinses out my downstream injector, keeping it nice and clean. You know, keeping those downstream injectors as clean as possible is going to give you longevity on them. I mean, they're only 20-30 bucks, but you know, whatever. But I really will in the future throw a bypass here. If you've ever seen them, it just basically plugs in here, circles over, the injector and goes here. So, and it has a valve on it. So when you shut the valve, it bypasses the injector, so you're not shooting any SH. And when you open the valve, it'll run through the injector. Obviously, they have remote control systems, downwash systems that you can hook up, and a whole bunch of neat gadgetry. But that's not me. This is just a basic setup. As you get busier and busier and you need those kind of things, I think it's a great thing to add on. But for me right now, this really does it. So I'm gonna start downstreaming and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so when I'm downstreaming, depends on the house, but for one story like this, I typically like to use just a regular high pressure handle, okay? And I'm gonna use a sharpshooter tip. All right, that's for long shooting, so it's gonna be good to get up into those gables up there, the soffits and the gables. And then I like this M5 twist, which is great for a fan out. So it's, when you're doing like your flat sections, you're gonna, open this up and it's gonna fan out. And because they're both large office size, it's gonna allow the downstream injector to pull chemical, okay? What you can do, instead of removing that line, like I said, and putting it in the water, I could just use a J-rod and change the tip to a high pressure tip, which is not going to allow the downstream injector to pull chemical. And that's how I could rinse the house without going back to the trailer. All right, but I'm going to start spraying some chemical on vinyl. I like to give it about maybe 3 to 5 minute dwell time, depends on how dirty it is. This is pretty clean, so probably 3 minutes and we're good. And let's get to it. Now, just one thing, when you're dealing with vinyl siding and aluminum doors, like garage doors especially, typically if it's an older house, 10, 20 years old, more than likely it's oxidized, okay? If it's white, it's very hard to see the oxidation. You got to wipe it and see if you can feel it. But if it's a darker color, be careful. You don't want to apply too much pressure when you're applying your chemical or rinsing it off onto those surfaces, because you'll knock the oxidation off it and leave a mark, and it won't. And then you're in trouble, because now you got to take all the oxidation off it to clean it out. You got to agitate it. You got to use an oxidation removal chemical. It's just a big can of worms. So to be safe, always shoot back from a distance and never apply pressure, high pressure, water pressure to any house. It's just a good rule of thumb. Okay, so you'll watch me putting this on and you'll get the idea. All right, guys, so that side's done. So we got the front and the one side finished. It's sprayed, it's rinsed. I'm gonna work on this back section. Now we're gonna be hitting up in there, and you'll see how quick the SH really knocks it off. Once again, we're gonna rinse it down first, then we're gonna hit it with the downstream injector, give it 5 minutes to dwell, and rinse it off. See what we got. So right now we're using the high pressure, so it's not pulling any SH. This is just straight rinse. All right, I'm going to switch my tip in the J-rod from the high pressure to the bigger orifice. Okay. Now, in about 15 seconds, I'm going to start to feel it. I'll feel the SH, I'll smell the SH, and I'll be shooting SH onto the house. Still not feeling it. Don't smell it. Okay, there it is. I'm actually going to change the tip and use the soaker tip. I actually just like this M5 twist tip right there. Just pretty good for everything. SH sprayed here. You can see up there, it's just killing it quick, pulling it right off the house. This is all sprayed, just letting it dwell. Once again, make sure your windows don't dry up on you because they will streak. You want to make sure they stay constantly wet. You know, that's the same principle as if you're soft washing a roof. No, I'm sorry, a metal roof. You know, if you're soft washing a metal roof, same as windows, don't ever let it dry. It will streak, it will, you know, it will oxidize, it'll just make a mess. You know, so rule of thumb, just keep any of those kind of surfaces wet. If you gotta rinse them in between, or if you gotta hit them again with a little mix, that's fine. Just keep them wet so they don't dry up. And we're gonna hit these two sides and rinse them off. And that's pretty much what it'll be like. We'll see what it looks like when we're done. Okay guys, that's it. That's a wrap. So one last look at the final product. Nice, clean, fresh. Yeah, like it. Yeah, you know, when you get into this, you start to enjoy cleaning because you just like to see what it looks like when it's done. So a couple pointers real quick before we finish this up. You noticed I didn't get paid to clean this driveway or this walkway or this. I shot this with SH, cleaned it up a bit. I got all the leaves off it. When I came here, this driveway was full of geese shit. It was all over the place. So yeah, you know, you go the extra mile for your customer because they're gonna appreciate it. You don't even have to mention it, they'll know. So, you know, soffits look great. Windows don't have any streaks on them, SH streaks, that's important. This could have came out a little better if I scrubbed it a little bit, but a lot of that is actually paint that's come off of the gutter. So it's, I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but you know, it's acceptable for a house wash. If that was a gutter brightening, that would be no good. But this is a house wash. All the soffits look great. Gutters look nice. The brick, as I said before, really wasn't that bad. Windows are really clean. They look sparkling. And let me just go show you that back area. That was, you know, you're always gonna find that where there's the least amount of sun, you're gonna have the most amount of growth. So this side of the house doesn't get much sun. It's blocked by the trees. If you remember what that looked like before, look fantastic now. There, nice, all looks good. You know, some of the houses you can see a dramatic difference, especially on white. You know, it just looks, you know, brand new. So yeah, real happy. Customers happy. You know, it's another 5-star review in the books. And you know, I'd love to hear your comments. Maybe you do something different than I do. Maybe you would have did something different. Love to hear it. I'm always open to suggestions from anybody. It's good to bounce ideas around. All right, so that's a wrap. I got all my lines hooked up, tucked away, I should say. Everything cleaned up. You know, that's another thing. When you work clean. You know, customers appreciate that. You know, stay organized. Don't leave your stuff all over their property ever. You know, and that's really it. So check out more of these videos someplace around here for more information on power washing, soft washing, exterior cleaning. And I'll catch you on the next one.